Right. This is the link. YouTube video.
Okay, I have mine up.
Okay. All right. Let's see it.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Hold on. And then I know that when it's playing back on your screen, it's kind of shows that the bounces are really high. So I'm just go through it.
Okay. Good move. Right. All right. So the end is really good. I like the settle there. It's really natural motion.
Hmm.
What's a little off is the first squash and the first valley there. It squashes way too early, and that's because we don't have a keyframe right before it hits the ground there. Um, so that may be a little off.
Oh,
Because the ball generally, if anything, the ball elongates at that first fall.
hmm.
We don't have to worry about that because it requires some special grouping and whatnot we'll be getting into
Uh-huh.
today. But um, so we just gotta keep in mind that we need keyframes before action and after action. You know, a keyframe that tells After Effects when to start a certain deformation and then when to
Hmm.
end it as well. And then also it would have been nice
Oh,
to
so
see
basically this used to be right here then. Maybe here, I would assume. Let me see.
right about there would have been nice. Like what is that?
Like right here.
Right about there would have been nice to see it first flatten out,
Oh, I see. Got you.
hit the
Yes.
floor, then bounce back up. Yeah. And then it looks like yeah, it's the same thing at the end of that first bounce as well.
Okay,
We need
so
this.
maybe I need to copy and put uh, that one there. No.
And
Hmm.
then get rid of the old keyframe, that third keyframe.
Let's start right here.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot better. And then we need to retain its form, its regular form at the peaks here. And then the same thing with that second bounce. So the ball is not coming back to its regular state in that first like bounce up to the peak and down.
Okay. All right. I'll
All
work
right.
on it.
All right. Cool. And then also, one last thing that was it one, two, three. That third bounce there, got a pretty sharp peak there.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, so a little bit of unnatural motion there. Cool, cool. All right. But yeah, yeah, getting there, man. Appreciate it.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you for your feedback because I really needed it.
Yeah, yeah, glad to help too. All right. Lily, is it up?
Yes.
All
Just
right.
give me a second. Where's the? There it is. Okay. Okay. Um,
Cool. Beach ball.
I couldn't find the ball you guys were looking for. It
Nah,
seems
that's
hard.
perfectly fine. All right, one more time. This is a drastic frame drop. If you could, like, let's scrub it through. This seems to
Okay.
work a little better.
Okay. The beginning.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
scrub it through.
Scrub it through.
Yeah. So for scrubbing, we're clicking and dragging the time slider through the animation here.
Okay.
Just put your mouse on top of the little blue
Uh,
timeline. Scrub it. Yeah.
okay. Is that it?
No, the time
Right there.
slider. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the blue time slider, if we click and drag back to
Times.
the beginner,
Nope. Not that. You just had it on there. Yep. Right there.
yeah, that
This.
that's what we'll call the time slider right there. No, back to the triangle, upside down pentagon thing.
And just slide it back to the
Um,
beginning.
this one,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Pentagon. Keep moving or just
Oh goodness. Oh,
It's,
it
it's
is frozen on
frozen on my
here.
side.
Yeah.
um,
All right. And boy, yeah, my connection is struggling right now. Okay. And then yeah, let's slide it slowly, real
should I?
slowly. Yeah, like that. All right, cool. All right. So a couple of things here. So the motion path is it looks like it's set up pretty well. The thing is, it seems like you may have a couple too many in between frames. Frames in between the keyframes here and there, especially on that last jump. So the timing may be off just a bit there. Not to mention that that third bounce looks a little off. Um, then it doesn't seem to hit the wall over at the end there. I'm not sure what it's bouncing back off of. Um, but that's not exactly as major a concern as the
Oh,
squashing. The squashing um looks really subtle. I can't really tell if it's actually squashing or not. Let's see. Let's go back to that first hit on the ground there, the first valley. Yeah, right about there. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like there's a little bit of a squash, but it's always better off to err on the side of exaggeration, especially for animation. And if it looks too ridiculous, you probably will have to get feedback for that sort of thing. Um, but it's good to overdo it and then pull it back, if anything. And is it? Yeah, it's one frame after. It looks like it hits the ground there. Okay, but yeah. So I'll focus on the timing, right? Because you do have a lot of keyframes in there, so it doesn't look like it's falling with natural gravity here.
Okay.
Um, and then we'll focus more later on about acceleration and deceleration, that sort of thing.
All right. So I just need to work on the squish. It's not really there.
One more time. What was that?
The so you don't really see the squish. I need to probably make it more flat or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
More exaggerated um, flatness there. But
All
yeah.
right.
Well, solid though. Still solid. I appreciate it.
All right.
Now the next lucky contestant.
Yeah, let's see it.
Oh, wait. Oh, we're going.
I'm gonna be honest now. Mine don't even squish. I was trying to, but in between my work schedule and falling asleep, I failed. But I got the
Interesting.
rotation part, and they do some crazy somersaults. But I like it honestly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Can you wait? No, you can't see that. Hold up. Your entire screen. There we go. Click share. All right. All right. Can y'all see?
Yeah. Yeah. I see it.
Okay. So now I was watching the lecture though. Trying to get the concept and the gist of the scale part,
Mhm.
but I ain't quite added to this yet. But for the most part, I got rotation and I tried to keep it some type fluent in a way. I didn't like use the scale thing. Like I used I'm not rotation scale. I used the rotation thing like you suggested, but instead of going down and clicking, and sliding left or right, I actually tried to rotate the ball itself and
Okay.
to see what kind of no damn, I just realized it like reversed in a sense, but um yeah, I did try like a different method of rotation in a sense.
Right. All right.
Spends a
So
lot there, but
there's a couple of things here. Um. All right. So let's click on the ball so we can see the motion path.
uh oh wait, there we go.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So yeah, the motion path looks solid. The timing seems to bunch up a little bit at the end. Um, that might not be an issue. I got to play it back once I take a look at your file on my computer. The thing is, it looks like it is squashed though. All right. So can you click on your ball layer there and
Yep.
then tap the S key?
Oh,
All right. Okay. Yeah. So it is squashed, right? So and that's kind of throwing me off. It's like an oblong ball. Oblong balls kind of
like a
bounce
frisbee.
differently as well. Yeah. So like a football would hit the ground and bounce off the ground differently than what a soccer ball would do. Um, so these are the little things you take into account when doing like natural, realistic animation. Um, and the reason it's realistic now, if anybody wants to get in stylized, it's fine. It's just something you have to let me know ahead of time. It's just realism is a good standard to start with. But yeah, so let's keep in mind like you do small changes like that. Let's try to keep it as realistic as possible. Um, Also, all right. So if we tap R on the keyboard, we'll go back to our rotation. And this is important to know when you're messing with things visually instead of with the numbers down here. Uh, as I said before, so the degrees down there next to rotation, so the ones after the X tell you how many degrees in the 360-degree rotation, excuse me, that is spinning, right? The
Yeah.
numbers on the left side of that X show you how many rotations, full rotations it's doing. And like right now, that number is going crazy, right? So I think
Ridiculous.
yeah, I've only made it up to, I think it's about two, maybe three full rotations. And here you have 3,000, 4,000, that sort of thing. So like, yeah, it's up there. So like, we just gotta keep those numbers in mind if we're working visually, because that tends to come out in the render, right? So if you had more frames here, it would probably be okay with something as simple as this. But if we had more frames here, more complicated shapes, that sort of thing, that bad boy is going to be like spinning wildly across the scene for the whole render. So it'll throw you off, like when you finally get to a final product and you realize, oh, it's it's spinning like crazy. So let's keep that in mind. And then
So stick to a smaller rotation.
yeah. I mean, just just you know, probably at most, three or uh, four rotations per object is a good rule to have. Okay, then let's head back to position. So if we click on the layer and then tap P.
Yep. All right, I'm on position.
All right, awesome. All right, and then yeah, so you got the easy ease keys in there. That's good. That's good. All right, that's about it. That's about it. So yeah, you got the bounce off the wall. Cool. Good heights on the bounces. Cool. Yeah, that works. All right. Yeah,
Minus the demonic
yeah,
speed.
yeah. The speed and some squashing issues there. Okay, cool. It's a good start though. All right, and then do. Who do we, is that everybody?
Oh wait, quick
I still
question.
gotta go.
Okay,
Uh,
all right. What's the question, man?
um, fashionably late. I still never got to present my name thing. Did you check that or
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and see that real quick. Yeah.
okay? Um, okay. Now, did it have to be my last name too?
Yeah,
Because it was
close
better
enough.
before I did my last name.
Just anything you place on, like anything you sign. We're looking for that. Looking for like a nice organic feel with the Bezier tool.
Because it's like it was cool. Then I forgot I had to add my last name,
Okay.
and I kind of funked the style in a kind of way to make it work.
All right. All right. So I'm seeing a lot of corners in here. Especially with the eye. Is that is that how you do eyes?
In this instance, yeah, regularly I'll just it'll be a stick man, but I had the opportunity to try something else, so
Yeah, we're looking for a regular instance here.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, yeah, we want it to match the regular signature. Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
my
So
signature a lot more funky than that.
okay, so yeah, so it's like a lot of corners in here. Just keep in mind that when we do um, like just a stick or something like that, it's just 2 points, right? And you
Okay.
add a little bit of curve to it, so it looks more handwritten. Then you click off the layer to end it, and then you can start again by re-clicking the pen tool or clicking off. Make sure the layer's deselected, type of thing. And
So
then
basically, it's like Lego piecing parts together in a way for
yeah,
some
you could
letters.
say that. You could say that. It's yeah, yeah. So you create a piece, stop, and then recreate another piece next to that, stop, and then you can also go back and edit, which would be really helpful for this C here. Because I see a lot of corners in there, and it's kind of like the peaks for the motion path of the bouncing ball. You just go in there, stretch out the handles, the tangents for that curve there.
I'm talking about in the G.
The G, sorry, yeah, the G there.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but yeah, yeah, that works. That works. And then you got some color in there. All right,
I was experimenting with different stuff at the same time, trying to see what I could do.
that's fine. That's cool. All right. Okay, and then Miles.
All right. Yeah, I'm be honest, mine I had struggled with as well.
Okay.
Let me pull it up real quick.
Welcome to the club, brother.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the squashing, but how do I?
Yeah, squashing is a little particular.
All right, can you see?
It's loading. There we go. All right.
All right, I want to scrub it because playing it out just did not work for me. It looks way too jittery, and I
Yeah.
also had this white outline on the ball for some reason.
Okay. Is it a PNG?
It is. I tried it down the same way you had. It's a JFIF.
Okay. Yeah. So sometimes we gotta make sure it's for the transparency. It's a PNG. So sometimes you have to go into the website and then download it there because Google will give you something different for the preview image.
I see.
Uh,
I see.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
So as you can see, I had a problem with the squashing.
Yeah.
I think I was doing it too early.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So another thing is that well besides the squashing is that the motion path is really off. Um for the last couple of hits on the ground that like we don't have our valley going on. We don't have that sharp point there. And
Uh,
that affects position and how it looks. Um and then also some oh yeah, okay, so it just changed. And then some of the peaks there, like we can also round those off a little better. Um, not to mention, yeah, excuse me. Not to mention that we might be moving a little too fast because there's not a lot of in between frames there. Let me just, yeah. Um, and as for the squashing and stretching, is as I mentioned before, one student's project just a moment ago. We want a key that retains the form right before the squash, and then another one right after the squash, so it goes back to its normal shape and volume.
right before and right
Right,
after.
right, right. So it just squashes when it hits, and then it goes back to normal after it leaves the ground.
So is it supposed to like squash as it goes to the first point,
No,
like become
it,
okay?
it squashes right before it hits the ground. So yeah, a great way to get a reference from this is just slow motion video on like a bouncy ball that you get from like a quarter machine or something. You know,
Mm.
it'll show you the ball as it hits the ground. It expands because it's making contact with the ground, and all that force is pushing the top of the ball down to the bottom as the bottom part is giving way to the ground there. And then once it jumps back up, it actually elongates a little bit. That's one part that we did leave out, but it actually elongates a little bit and then hits its regular form. It kind of jiggles a little bit here and there, but we're not getting into those particulars. And then, it hits the top, and then as it falls down again, it does the same thing right before it hits the ground.
Mm.
But yeah, yeah. So yeah, so I mean, all I can suggest is pay a little more closer attention to YouTube videos, right? If things are looking dissimilar or a little bit off or unrealistic, right? Basically, that's what we want to look for. If it looks unrealistic, um, let me know. I'll take a look at it before the due date, that sort of thing, and help you out with some feedback.
All right.
Right. Okay. Cool. Cool. And that's everybody. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, guys. So let's start back in animation. Um, let's, we're gonna start with a new. Let's start presenting here. Right. Is my screen popping up for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna start with the new composition here. It's just gonna be a little different though, because what we want to do is, in the beginning, we want to build our shapes, and our shapes are going to be Tetris shapes.
Tetris.
Tetris. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and name my composition. Let's see. Let's just call this block for now. All right, I'm gonna hit the default preset here, 1080 by 24. But what I want to do is I want to take off this lock aspect ratio, and then I'm going to turn this into a square. So I'm going to have my width and my height the same. Matter of fact, I'm going to make it a little smaller. So I'm going to do 500 and 500 to make it a square. All right, and then let's see. So square pixels, 24 frames, full resolution, and in duration, let's say, um, let's do. Trying to think off the top of my head, how long does it take for all the shapes to fall in? We'll do 3 minutes just to play it safe. Uh, yep. All right, cool. So 3 minutes. Background color, I'm going to choose black. Actually, it's going to be very specific. Tetris's background is black, or slightly gray. Whichever value over here, just keep this in mind because we're going to have to use that again. All right, I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to come up with my square here, my 500 pixel by 500 pixel square. And then what I want to do here is that I want to build a block, a regular block, but just not any block. Because if we go online, we could look up Tetris blocks. But see, it's not just a square. Well, maybe here, but we're going to add a little bit more to it. Yeah, give it a
Now
little
I was trying to
buttress.
follow along as far as how you got that 500 by 500. How essential is that right now?
Essential. It's really essential. Once you
Okay,
get into nesting and stuff, we're going to need the composition bounds to be specific so it can snap everything together.
okay. I have to review that then.
Well, okay, so if it's not a square, so we can go back to our composition up here in project resource, composition settings, and then we can adjust the width and height right here.
Oh, I see. You lock. It was the lock aspect ratio part I missed.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay. And 500 by 500, 24. And it's at 3 minutes instead of two?
yeah.
Okay.
All right, and black background.
Okay, I got that part now.
Cool. All right, and then let's make a complicated shape here. All right, so let's start with our shape tool. All right, we're going to stretch this out. All right about there. Let's give it a cool color. Start off with, I'm guessing this is cyan of sorts. Yeah, that'll be close enough. Hit OK. All right, I'm gonna name this. Name is base. Right, and then while base is selected, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to my shape tool. Re-click that. I'm gonna change. So can I do it beforehand? No. All right. Let me do it afterwards. So while base is selected, go ahead and draw another square right here. Let me make that square a little darker.
So it's like drawing a square, then another one on top of it.
Right.
Now, as far as my like fill and stroke settings, do I need to really change those or?
Yeah, to see one another. Yeah.
All right, so should I eliminate the fill or the stroke?
Well, change up the fill to a cool color. Next one should be darker. And then I'm going to place a stroke on this inside one here.
Okay. Now, when I'm doing the darker square on top of that square, is it on? It's on the same layer.
Right. Same base layer. All right, so now what I can do with this is a number of different things. I can go back go underneath my base layer here and select rectangle 1. It's our first rectangle. I can change that to a gradient.
Rectangle one.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then I can change up the colors here. So let's see. So I'll change it to something to give it something of a highlight on the top here.
Okay, you said on the square on the inside of that first one, it's a darker color and add a stroke to it, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, there we go. I see now.
Okay, and then I went back to rectangle 1, changed it to a gradient, and then actually maybe a radial gradient might be a little better here.
And the
How about
fill
this?
was gradient, right?
Yeah, for rectangle 1.
Now, as far as editing the color that it uses,
So yeah, that's clicking on. Oh yeah, I could have canceled it. So that's clicking on this color box right next to fill. And so the edit colors and gradients. So we have our scale right here, and that shows us our range. So the more we compress it, the more tighter of a gradient we get at one particular point. All right, and then when we stretch it out, you get a more we get more transition between the two colors. All right, then to change the individual colors on here, click on one. I'm gonna use this eyedrop tool to grab this color here, and add some more saturation. Then I can click the right side, which is going to be my lighter color. Make sure I have the right hue. Come back here, click on that color, and then add saturation, some 10. Okay, and then we can also, if you like, this is your choice. We can also make sure I got this right. Nope, not quite like this. Photoshop. Nope, nope, that doesn't work here. Okay, so just two colors. That's fine. All right, so I'm gonna hit OK. I'm just gonna rock with these two colors here. And then before I do anything else, I'm gonna just adjust, excuse me, adjust the gradient. So the way I do that is with this line that has two solid dots on either end. Again, dragging around those dots, and that changes up the direction of the gradient. So now I'm just changing it to go up and down and make it a little smoother. All right, and I can deselect, take a look at it without the outlines. Everything that looks pretty good. If you like, you can do the whole lines in the corners here to make it more of a tile. I'm not too concerned with that right now. I'm gonna keep it simple. All right, and then we have our square here. All right, and then what I want to do now is see if I can get it snap to the bottom part. No, not quite. Not quite. Okay, so instead we'll bring it as close as possible. Go ahead and shrink it down, holding my shift to constrain it down to the corner right about there. All right, and then I can start building my first shape. So say, let's start with the T shape. Okay, so we're gonna start with the T shape. So there's three in the bottom and then one in the center here. Go to the base, Control C, V. All right. And then I'm turning snapping on up here in the toolbar. Make sure that's checked on. I'm going to click near this side anchor point. Not anchor point, sorry. This is the side handle here. So it'll snap to the layer next to it just right. Alright, then I already see a problem. Looks like our shapes are merging together. So I'm going to go back into the base one and add an outline. The outline for the rectangle number one. It's going to make it black. Downsize it a little bit. Go back, copy two, make a second base here. Do the same thing.
Now, what's the snapping thing do again exactly?
So it snaps the shapes together. So if I have it off, I want to be able to snap it flushly against the other one. But then turn on, click near this one, it's
Um,
highlighted, and then it snaps right next to the other one.
quick question with snapping. It seems like my boxes are choosing to snap with the inner square. Do you have any idea why that is instead of the outer square if I have the whole square selected?
Yeah, mine does that too.
Okay, so let's try this because it's really particular. So delete them, zoom in, see if I can get through
Oh no, I
two
changed the
things here.
size. Crap.
All right, so let's do the inner square. Okay. No, okay. Let's try to clear the selection and then select the entire layer. See if that helps.
No, it's still not snapping to the outside one for some reason.
Mine snaps in a weird way, but it doesn't have that same block you have.
So, okay, so it's not using the outer bound box for some reason. Let's see. So then it uses center. Can't we get that second one to pop up? It's just moving that. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me see your screen, Brandon. I'm
Yeah,
having trouble seeing this.
no problem. So, chat. Okay.
Okay.
So when I get close, as you see, the inner squares will snap.
Oh, got you, got you. Okay,
No,
so technically, you see that square in the center there?
Have to click the
yeah.
left side.
So it snaps to the closest point that you click at. All right, let me show you guys a little more closely, be more clear. Let's see. Okay, all right, cool. Not as distracted, but okay. So snapping's on, right?
Hmm.
So if I click near this point, it's going to make a small box
Gotcha.
around that point. And it's going to use that point to snap.
Yep, that
All
worked.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. Then if I click near the center, it's just going to use the center. Which
Okay.
reminds me, we can actually line up these squares a little better. Make sure this one's in the dead center. Go back inside base, rectangle number two.
Okay, I see.
Right. No, it's just in between layers. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Is everybody getting snapping to work?
Yeah, now it works.
Oops.
Awesome. All right.
All right, so I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see my um second square that goes inside, like in the middle. It's like invisible.
It's invisible. Let's see. All right. So the eyeballs are on for both of them, right?
Yeah, they both are.
Okay. And then is rectangle number 1 or number 2 on top?
Number two is on top.
2 is on top. Okay. So rectangle number 2, does that have a feel to it?
Yeah, it has a gradient feel to it.
Okay. Let me see. Let me see.
It has the same gradient feel as number one though.
Oh well, that's the thing. So they're exactly the same color. So let's make the rectangle number 2 on the inside a little darker.
But when I do that, it also does that to number one.
Okay. Let me see the screen right quick.
All right. So this is the gradient. It's a random color because I was trying to mess with it, but
Mm-hmm.
this is the second square. It's no color at all to it.
No color. Rectangle 2.
And when I adjust the fill, I got wait, I had number two selected. Let me select it again. But when I adjust the fill, it does the same thing to the other one. And this is rectangle two.
Okay, let's go back into fill options.
Mm-hmm.
Options. So fill options is the word fill instead of the color box.
You talking about down here?
Well, up top. So the color box, where you go to change the color, right next to that, to the left, you see the fill word. Right next to that.
Like
Oh,
the
are you
actual
talking?
word.
Oh, oh, okay.
There you go. Okay. So yeah, I was looking at your blend mode. Um. All right. Well, okay. So I'm not sure what happened to that square. Let's delete it and let's try to redraw it on top of there.
Okay. Delete both of them. Well, that brought back the second one.
Well, let's make sure we let go of click first and then let go of shift. We have a rectangle right now here.
You said do what exactly?
So perfect square. So when you're drawing it out, so we click first, hold shift, then we'll let go of click, and let go of shift. There we go.
Wait, what did I do again? Because I thought that did something else.
No, it just makes sure it makes sure that you have like a perfect square instead of switch back to my screen instead of an accidental rectangle. So if I click and drag, right, I get my rectangle however I see fit. I hold shift, change it
Oh,
into a square. Now this happens all the time, just subconsciously. If I let go of shift first and then let go of click, I still end up with a rectangle. But click and drag first, press shift, let go of click first, and then let go of shift. Then I keep the rectangle, keep the square here.
so basically, shift turns it to a square.
Right, constrains proportions.
Okay.
All right, cool. Miles, is it working out for you?
Yeah, I got it figured out.
Okay, awesome. All right, cool. So making tea. So I'm just going to duplicate. Slide this guy over again. Do the same thing. Snap. Sure everything's level. And
When did you? Sorry. When did you make your composition bigger?
I zoomed in. So it's
Oh,
the
okay.
same size. Zoomed in.
Okay.
And on here, snap and snap. All right. Cool. All right. So I got my T in place here. All right. Everybody else have a shape yet, or still working
Yeah.
on duplicating?
Now, now that we have all these bases on separate layers, how do we combine them so we can like transform it together? Is there a way to do that?
Right. So we're going to use this pre-compositions. I mean, otherwise it might probably be easier. Let's see if this works right quick, because this will save us a little bit of time. Copy and paste into there. Now, because it just overruns. Let's see. Just a moment, guys. Because each one needs their own transform. Hmm. Ah, way to make that snap there. Okay,
Right now,
so
you're combining these bases, right, to one layer.
so it would be nice to, but yeah. So we're just going to leave this in the composition. So the thing is, so it's already grouped. This is grouped underneath our. Well, I'm going to rename this the T block composition. And so what we can do now is we can create a new composition.
Let's see. Gotcha.
All right, we can call this touch screen camel text version 1. All right.
So I just save that one as is, like just save it and start a new composition.
Well, yeah. Save the whole project. And then we can start a new composition. It's not going to go anywhere for the meantime. Yeah, but always save early, save often, just in case. And then what I'm going to do is making a new composition by coming over here, right clicking new composition, rename it, call this Tetris screen, and Tetris screen will be our master composition. That's what we want to import all the other compositions into this one.
Gotcha.
All right, and then I'm going to use the reversed
1920 by
1080. Let's see. There we go. Okay, cool. So width would be 1080 instead of height. And height would be 1920. And make sure it's 3 minutes. Background color is the same as what these other compositions are going to be.
And which block is this one? The new composition?
It's the Tetris screen. So Tetris screen. All right, and now that we have a new composition here, it's lined up like a Tetris screen would. The blocks drop down from the top and together at the bottom. Just going to bring in my T block.
I mean, like how we imported that soccer ball, kinda.
Yeah, we're using a composition as a reference. Yeah, and I'll be able to drop it into here and animate it and whatnot. Thing is, we are going to need to adjust this anchor point. But before we even do that, I'm going to go ahead and resize this block so it works out a little better. So, I mean, that's the ideal shape. So, probably just make the composition a little smaller.
Now, do I need to shift click for this one so it can stay?
Shift click. Let's see. Well, well, yeah. When you resize it, you would press and hold shift to retain constraints. But we're going to change it in the composition, in the original composition here. Because then we have a couple other shapes to make, and we want those to be the same shape as our T block. So down here on your timeline, oh, random guy, I don't know who that is. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna adjust the composition for the T block down here, the timeline here. All right, so we got our Tetris screen composition open, and then our tab right over here. That's our T block composition. All right, so we can go in here. Everything's lined up. It's at the bottom corner. So what I'm going to do is go back into composition settings. It's already good size, so I'm just, instead of resizing the blocks here, I'm going to resize the composition.
How did you group them?
They're already grouped into composition.
On with the original shapes though? Like how did you group those in the first place?
I think it means like getting them to stick.
Yeah.
Get them to stick together. Oh, so they automatically stick together. So in my Tetris screen, the master one, they already stick together.
Okay.
See down here, my T block is its own composition. It's a composition because its bar is brown. That means pre-nesting or its own composition here, or group. It means it's grouped.
Okay.
All right, so back to T block. Resize this right quick. So back into composition settings. I'm gonna go ahead and lock the aspect ratio. And then we're just gonna kind of eyeball this first one. So, oh no, that's good. It shows preview. So that's awesome. Right build, let's say 350. It's 350. Select all my layers. And we can actually get a little smaller than that. Let's see if I can keep in mind the different shapes here. Back to my reference. 3, that's 4, so that's going to change up a little bit. Everything else will fit. Okay. Let's shrink it down just a little bit more. So I'm going to stick with 330.
I'm sorry, what are we doing here? Like with the 330?
So we're tightening up on the edges here of the composition. So we don't have a huge floating bounding box here. A little better to handle, and you could stack them together a little easier.
And the handle, like right, or like that points in the center. I noticed.
Yeah, it is close in the center, but we can always adjust it afterwards. It would save time to just go ahead and center up the block, because what we're looking for is we're going to be bringing in, let's say about 40 different shapes to this master column here. I'm just going to have them come down, animate them falling into place and stacking on top of one another. Okay, so back to my T block here. Center this up a little more, so it'll save me some time in the long run. All right, cool. And then just one last thing. I'm just going to make sure everything lines up in master screen. So the way I would do that is find that corner. Copy and paste it. Oh, holy crap, we are definitely running over time. Sorry, guys. I just forgot this part right here. So slide it over, line it up, and then one more time. Okay. Got like an extra block here.
So really, right now we're just like focusing on making the shapes, snapping, lining them up.
Yeah. So our assignment for next class will be, let's make 2 more blocks, or 2 more shapes, 2 more Tetris shapes. All right. Let's go ahead and cut down on the empty space, the composition, and let's make sure they're different colors. But each one should have some sort of gradient in the blocks here.
Okay, when you say gradient, do you mean like how there's that darker square within it, or like the literal radial or linear gradient?
So literal linear radial gradient there.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's in these next two blocks we make, right?
Right. I think there's 5 total.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's the same thing. It's just reversed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6. Let's go ahead and knock out these 6. Let's do all the blocks here. Let's make sure the compositions are lined up. Um, I'll just check them once you come into class. Once you come in next class, and put it down as participation grade.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
How'd you make the composition smaller for that?
So yeah, so just composition settings. So T block, right click on the composition settings, and then we mess with the width and the height.
Okay, that's
Right.
pretty. Yeah, I guess I was just thinking too hard on it, but that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and keep in mind we should keep we shouldn't do too much resizing. So if we built these shapes, keeping in mind that we're going to have them fit in here as we just download and import them. We don't have to do too many resizing and lining up after the fact. So if we get the size right first in the beginning, it saves us a lot of work.
So really, after we make like the initial shape, we're just copying it and yeah,
Right,
copying and pasting it.
right, and changing up the color. Yeah.
Now, real quick, one thing that I was following along with, but I kind of missed a part of it.
Hmm.
Uh, the part where you, excuse me, kind of made this T block, like you know, got the anchor point, whatever you call it, in the middle, like the resizing, I believe you said it was.
You asking about the anchor point and resizing it?
Shoot, kind of both in a way. Can I show you mine real quick? Because I'm still got like,
Yeah, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Let's,
Mm, yeah, I just mean like how mine is. Like I forget. Let me see. I forget how to get to the whole thing, but my anchor point's still like somewhere up here, and the rest of the shape's like in this corner. Kind of know what I mean?
yeah, so when we resize the composition, the anchor point starts off in the center of the mini composition that we're making. So once we
Which is,
resize the composition, the anchor point will slowly come to the center of the T block if you put the T block in the middle.
so what should my for the T block composition? What should my sizes be for that?
You have to eyeball it.
Oh, eyeball it. So
Yeah,
okay. Ah,
yeah.
okay.
I'm not sure how big your squares are. And those are squares, right? They're not rectangles.
They look square to me,
All right,
honestly.
then it's going to be a problem when you start stacking them together because then you're going to have uneven gaps, and then that is a part of the requirements. We need some
Even
pretty
gaps, right?
pretty flush stacking. I understand we are eyeballing a lot of it, but definitely need squares, man.
So these are rectangles because I'm like not joking. They look
They look like rectangles, man.
okay.
I wouldn't do that. But yeah. Once you resize the composition, then the anchor point in the your mini composition in the larger one will center up.
Okay.
Okay.
So now, as far as editing the shapes of these rectangles, now is that just like a? Should I start over or
Yeah. Let's start over.
okay?
Copy and paste that
Use
one
the
over
shift
there.
click thing.
Yep. Yep. And make sure
Okay.
you let go of click first before you let go of shift.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Any more questions?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. All right, guys. Well, y'all take it easy. It's good to see everybody, and I'll see you Thursday at 12.
All right.
All right.
So for Thursday, we're
Okay.
gonna have like the seven blocks.
Six blocks. I mean, you
Six.
just gotta flip that Z or S block to make the other one. That's not a big issue.
Okay, and just change the color of it, or
If you want, if you want, I'm not really too concerned about throwing on extra work there.
okay. Now, as far as we just need them like in the same master screen or the touch screen,
Yeah,
or
that'd be a good way to show them off real quick. And just make
okay,
sure they're all lined up. They fit together, and make sure all the squares of all the individual blocks of each shape line up with all the individual blocks of other shapes.
okay, I can deal with that.
Cool, cool, awesome. All right, y'all take care. Y'all take care. Any more questions?
Not really.
Not really.
Not
Okay.
not yet.
All right. Text or call me, email me. Let me know if y'all need any help.
All right.
All
All
right.
right,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. See ya.